I wanted to say first, I'm not going to be doing these every day. I know it might seem like it right now because this is like my third in 3 days, but maybe 2 times a month. But today I had lunch with a colleague, and one of the topics that came up had to do with a client and whether doing certain things was coddling the client, like accommodating them too much, or in a way making their life too easy versus being compassionate and helping the client out. So, and it reminded me later when I was thinking about it that when I was standing in line behind a family one day, or in front of actually, and they just kept discussing like a brother that had a mental health issue, and the mom was like, he needs all this help, he needs me to do these things, and the brother, her other son, I'm assuming, not that I was eavesdropping, was kind of arguing that you're coddling him too much. And I think that's life. Like, life is messy. Like, there's often not an easy answer. There's not, yes, this is coddling, and no, this is compassion and therapeutic. And I think it's a big issue when it comes to mental health. Like, a lot of people think counseling is like coddling or somehow feeding into this negative state, and they should just pull themselves up and get on with life. And maybe sometimes that is the case. Like, in our discussion, we talked a lot about how responsibility sometimes forces you to get out of your mental state, and it certainly does for me. Like, if I'm in a low mental state, I've shared in other of these that I've had depression, struggled with depression throughout my life, and the fact that I have to go to work, sometimes gets me going, and then the course of the day I feel better, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is better that the person takes some time and is able to not have those responsibilities. My point isn't really about whether it's coddling or whether it's compassion. My point is, and the point I really want to make is, maybe what you think comes from inside of you and your experience, right? Maybe there isn't an easy answer, but we become so certain of our perspective because of our experience, right? And then, so most of the time when we're trying to make this argument, like the mom's making her argument and the brother is making his argument in this family that was behind me in line some time ago, and they're both convinced of their perspective, but maybe there isn't such a right or wrong answer, like maybe sometimes walking that line is really hard, and maybe the certainty just comes from your own experience and your own struggles. Maybe if you've struggled, you think it's more along the compassion line, but if you haven't, maybe, or if what helped you was somebody pushing you, then maybe that's your perspective. But that's just perspective. Like, we think there's these truths, and there's ways to get to the truth, and there's ways to answer these really unanswerable questions. And maybe there isn't. Maybe all of it is just your perspective. I write about this all the time, and I don't know, it just came up when I was sitting here today, so I thought I'd share. Thanks.